me turn my.
We're live and in color. Boxlunch 26. The pivot worked. What does that mean, man?
Action.
What does that mean?
Action.
Do we need to do that? I need to make sure this stream went live. Says, according to YouTube, that we're live.
All right.
Yeah?
Here we are.
Look at that. It's like magic. Hopefully this mic doesn't.
I like it.
This mic doesn't cut off on us.
Look at us.
Or this camera, I should say.
We're doing
what's
it.
up, the YouTube? Let me turn this.
Yeah.
Dude, what's been going on,
Here we
man?
are.
We haven't done one of these in,
Bro.
I don't know, January maybe? December? I don't know.
Of what?
Of what year? I
Which
feel like
year?
the last 2 years are just kind of like jumbled up, right?
Dude, it's been crazy.
been
We
a
did
pretty
one of
crazy
these,
ride.
but was it on Zoom?
Yeah, we did a Zoom one.
So anyway, hello. We're here. We're back.
Yeah, for those of you who don't know us, we're Charlie and Nathan. We're the founders of Sightbox.
Yes.
SIGHT.
Yeah, you probably can't read this, but this is kind of a fun little deal. We got trademarked. We got the trademark.
Here, I'll give it to him up and close. How's this?
There you go. Yeah, so we've talked about doing this for a long time, and finally we got to do it. So we have the registered trademark. Circle R.
Circle R, baby.
Look out.
So what's this big pivot we keep talking about?
Oh, the big pivot. Yes.
Yeah.
So let's see. It's 2021. We started talking about pivoting the agency probably, was it 2018, I think, is when we first started talking about it.
2018.
And I think we talked a little bit about how, from a business perspective, we've tried several different things, as you know, if you've been following us. And what sort of stood out to us was how well we got along with founders and how much we fell in love with technology startups and stuff like that. And there's a lot of reasons for that. But I think just overall, Charlie and I think we just have this sort of, I don't know, maybe it's because we're sort of that, have you heard the Zennial? We're the Zennial generation. We're that in between Gen X and the millennials.
Yeah.
So we think technology is pretty cool. We don't take it for granted.
No, that's for sure.
So we can kind of, we'll dissect that later. But the truth is we've really kind of were gravitated towards working with tech companies and tech startups early on, even before we sort of knew really what they were all about. Then we launched Tap That App, and with that got into an accelerator. And from that point on, that sort of was sort of the beginning of that big pivot, which is we slowly have been working towards replacing most of our larger clients with, I should say replacing.
No, yeah.
Let me just say this. We sort of made an effort to go after startups and tech companies because we felt like we were sort of able to offer more value to them. So we made this conscientious decision probably 2018. And then as time went on, sometimes that worked. Sometimes we were able to work on those kinds of projects and those kind of clients. Other times, other stuff came in and sort of distracted us, I guess, or kind of took over. But now in this last year, we've been able to really do it full on.
Yeah. Let me back you up. We were toying with the idea in 2018. And we might even have some vlogs that
Big
go
time.
back that far when we were on the whiteboard.
Yes.
Not actually even talking about this yet. We were still, just saw it the other day. It was like, kind of the whole inspirational thing. Remember that? We were like really trying to figure out who we were and how deep we were going to go with that. And we were trying to figure out what our story was and what our niche was. And I think we were headed somewhere. And then I think I was one of those days at Redondo, the old office there. And you just strolled in and you said, I think it's startups. And I remember kind of like, sound cool. Like the sound of it. Now, can it work? I don't know. So then we started exploring. And then in 2019, the beginning of 2019, we made it one of our, I think it was probably our resolution, right?
Yeah.
Of the year. We said, well, let's bring in our buddy, Ed Lee from Hello Advisor, to help consult us. He's kind of like a, what would you call him? Like a financial advisor for startups.
His strength is in figuring out pricing, but he's also just sort of a business analyst and great guy, highly recommended.
Yeah. So we brought him in. He's, what are your goals? Where do you want to go? What's the next 3 to 5 years look like? All that stuff. And started, we even opened up the books, the whole thing, right?
Yeah.
And we were like, man, we're passionate about startups. It didn't go very well. It didn't align with what was on paper at all.
Not at all.
Right?
And you always hear these things about the 80-20 rule.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
And I kid you not, like we literally 80% of our revenue was coming from 20% of our clients. And those clients were basically carrying the whole agency. And we liked working with them. That was not really the big issue, but I don't think we felt like we were contributing as well as we wanted to. And so there was that kind of thing. And you hear this stuff all the time, like business was great. We were making good money. But I don't think we felt like we were growing or really making a substantial impact at the time. And so, and on top of that too, we were, you get to some of these sizes and projects, and we're always constantly being bid. We're one of 3 bids, that sort of thing, and that's fine. But it's really hard to get sort of a toe in on that relationship, to really sort of get in and be like, this is gonna last. And so it was kind of shaky ground. In fact, I would say I think it was not that long after that stuff, some of that work really dried up.
Oh yeah.
There was some reorganizations that happened on their end, and we ended up having the few retainers we had at the time pulled, right? And we were planning out the year. We had, again, sizable retainers coming in, and then it all went away. And sort of out of necessity, we were kind of like, we got to go back to something. And the idea was, let's go back to this startup world. So we ended up pitching quite a few different little smaller startups. And we had this sort of time. And in fact, you'll probably, if you look back, that was the time of Lifey and a handful of other ones. And anyway, it kind of started to slowly snowball. And what happened this last year, which is interesting, is even in the middle of COVID, we ended up really sort of gaining some momentum. And it could have been a couple of different things. We still look back and we're like, we're not exactly sure, precisely what did it, but there were a lot of different factors. But there was this sense, I think, during the COVID time, and this is sort of after, I would say probably in the fall of COVID, was this sense of really trying to get things moving again. And what was interesting was we were able to find companies that really weren't affected by the pandemic that much. Their business models were rather intact. In fact, what's really interesting is, I think at the time, data privacy there were a number of data privacy accounts that we were talking to, and data privacy at the time, this is when Facebook was, Mark Zuckerberg was going to testify and had hearings in Congress. The CEO of Google, same thing, and everyone's sort of grilling them on what they're doing with their data. And along comes, after that, a lot of privacy policies were passed and stuff. So for whatever reason, like that really got us kind of on a solid ground for some of the clients we were working with, and they felt like they needed to commit to an agency, and we were there to do it. And that was kind of the beginning of the successful pivot for us. It hasn't been easy at all.
No, man, there was moments where we didn't know if we were going to make it.
Big time.
And then it was like, hey, this isn't going as well as we thought, but man, 2020 is our year. Wait.
Yes.
Remember that?
Yes. Well, in fact, if you look back to like we were starting out 2019, 2020. We were hitting it hard.
Dude,
remember that?
That's what I'm saying. It was like 2020 is our year.
We were like, this is it.
We flew out to Startup Grind.
Yep.
2020 February.
Yes, we went out to that product hunt party.
Oh, that's right.
Remember that?
We did. Hollywood,
and we pitched. What's his name?
Ryan Hoover.
Yeah. He was launching Stacked.
That's right.
Or Stack or whatever it was.
I don't know. Yeah. But the weekend fund.
Yeah.
We had sent him a pitch deck.
Yeah.
And we went and introduced ourselves. But we were like in it, we were like, this is our year.
Oh yeah.
And then the world came crashing down. And just like everyone else, it was like uncertainty. But let me finish 2019. We were kind of like, I remember during the summer of that year, just like nervous, man. Like, are we doing the right thing?
Mm-hmm.
If you even look back, we screw around with the titles of our videos and stuff. Like, I think one of our last 2019 ones, was like sticking to our guns or whatever. It's like, hanging on, right?
Yeah.
Like, we believe in this. We're going to hang on. And then I remember heading into the fall and then us sitting down and like, we got to do something. Mm-hmm. We had already launched the website. We had done everything. Mm-hmm. Like, we got to do something, man, because, this isn't panning out the way we thought. And then I think it was October. It was some weird thing where our runway was like, we were down to like the last month that we could afford to, to do this thing. And then, we remember the story of the generosity of just like, dude, I don't know why, but we should donate some money from our business account. Mm-hmm. And then we both donated some money.
Yeah.
And it was like the worst time to do it too.
Oh yeah.
Right. It
was kind of dumb, but
yeah, it's like, hey, here's an idea. We're running out of cash. Let's give some of it away. Mm-hmm. And then within a couple of weeks, we get a phone call from one of our old clients that had just raised $100 million and said, I need you guys ASAP. And that was the beginning of what I call like the snowball that started to, the end of that, going into 2020. Mm-hmm. And then it was one, right? And we're like, okay. Mm-hmm. And like 2020 is our year. And then when we did the startup grind thing, did all that and just had a little bit of momentum going into it. And then we got Reviver, I think.
Yep.
So we're like, okay, this thing's working, I feel good about this. And then COVID hit and everything kind of paused. Everybody was like, just kind of wait. Mm-hmm. And then we were like, everybody else, what's going to happen? Not another repeat year. Right?
Yeah.
And then after the lockdowns and all that stuff, even though people weren't really going out because, the 2 weeks turned into 3 months or whatever, but everyone started working from home. And then startups just started, like, they came back with a vengeance, man. Mm-hmm. Like, people were like, wait a minute, we don't have to go back to our offices. We're way more productive here.
Yeah. Well, here's the thing too. You kind of look at it, like, out of all those things, it probably unlocked a lot of productivity.
Yes.
Right?
absolutely.
I mean, people who work at startups, they're hustlers. They're really working hard.
Yeah.
And here you say, all right, well, I mean, why do you think Facebook has free lunch and dinner and because those people are living there.
Yeah.
Well, this is sort of like the best of both worlds. They're like, well, you can work at home and and work, and everyone's like, all right, great. Yeah. So it really doubled down on that productivity, I think, working from home.
Yeah.
Big
time. And then it was like, hey, saw the work you did there.
Yeah.
We've got something going on. And then we're like, okay, let's take a look at that. And then it turned, then we did we did some work for a VC.
Yep.
And then, I mean, it's just like, you can't make this stuff up. No. The VC was like so impressed by the work and by our team. He recommended us to the board, the company that he was advising or investing in, who was, who happened to be a notable investor, who said, well, I have I've got a company that needs help. Send us that one. And then, then the next one.
Yeah.
And then the next one. And then the next one. And before long, we were in it. 2020 really, really, for me, just gave us the confidence that we made the right decision.
Mm-hmm.
And then we went into 2021, which came by like for everyone else the same, where I just kind of like, we blinked and it was here. And then now we're in it. And then 2021 just got freaking crazier, right?
Yeah.
It was like, wait a minute, the business model started changing a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
We launched, we had a thing called Sitebox as a service that we're floating around for about a year. We had a couple of clients.
Get it, SaaS?
See what we did there?
See what you did there?
So yeah, we had a couple of clients on it, right? And it was no big deal. But then before long, we were converting our project clients into SaaS clients for us.
Yeah.
And we're just becoming an extension of their team. Our team basically is just like, managed services, I guess, is one way to look at it.
Sure.
But creative development, well-rounded. And it just went from one to another, and then to another and another and another. And before long, we're like, dude, this is like out of control. So we've probably doubled in size as a team in the last year. Easily. And I mean, today is just kind of a milestone for us because we were at lunch today with our new hire that we're bringing on full-time to help us with operations and account management and various other things. So I'm just like, man, this is exciting times. Somebody I can't wait to introduce you to, by the way, somebody that's awesome.
We'll wait.
We'll wait to reveal that name for now, but super excited, man.
Yeah, it's gonna be awesome.
I'm trying to see if I can show the SaaS page here while I'm talking. But
so one other thing too, and maybe we've talked about this a little bit, but I'll bring it up. One thing that's been really kind of interesting with everything has been the fact that we started out as a very remote agency. Where you got it? Oh, there you go.
It is.
Time to kick some SaaS. Karate Kid.
That's right. You had to.
Yeah, don't report us to
copyright.
Yeah.
We're talking about, man. Sony gave me permission.
Yeah, I know that, right?
Yeah.
That's right. I remember that. But anyway, we've always it's been interesting because our remote model that in some ways we've sort of been reluctant to talk about with clients before, only because in the past we sort of thought people were going to sort of judge us by it for being not necessarily more formal, right? Like having a distributed team. But ever since COVID, it changed that dynamic dramatically. And I would say that, it sort of made it cool. Suddenly we didn't look like a bunch of misfits. We actually looked like we kind of were on trend. So I don't know. It's sort of funny how that worked out, but it's been good. And yeah, I don't know if we talked about it, but we shut down the Redondo Beach office.
Mm-hmm.
Our lease was up in the middle of 2020, and we just said, it was probably time. One of the things that there's obviously the fact that people weren't going to be visiting that office anytime soon, but it had also kind of occurred to us even before the pandemic that really being in Redondo Beach is great. It's great quality of life kind of thing. But from an office perspective, from a business perspective, it was just a little too far south for clients to come visit. Mm-hmm. Traveling in LA is kind of a thing. And so what we wanted to do, we're kind of looking at moving something further north. We had what do you call it? Subscription membership to Cross Campus in El Segundo.
Yep.
Which was really cool. We did that for a few months. Again, shut that down after the pandemic. But that's sort of, I think, what we're going to be doing. I don't know if it'll be this year or next year, probably next year, but looking at having some co-working spaces closer to where the action is. So looking at around the Playa Vista area.
Yeah.
So, but to be honest, it's really interesting because even so, I don't think we'll look for probably an office. I think we'll just get a hot desk and potentially use it for meetings, conference room stuff.
Yep.
Maybe some events and stuff, but really it's, working from home is kind of the thing. I mean, this place is great, but Charlie lives like, how far? 100 yards, 100 steps from this office. So this is sort of like working from home for you. Let's be real. Yeah, it's basically your garage. And then, and then I converted my garage. So, yeah, so my garage is no longer, it's an office. Yeah. And so right. Anyway, I'm excited. I'm excited to see what happens. And what's also been interesting too is with the way that's worked out, we've actually, talent-wise, it's been really helpful because we've.
What is home today?
What is home today?
Udo, big shout out.
That's
our boy right there.
Yeah.
Actually, I'm gonna put him on blast right now. He's actually he's not a new hire. No. We brought Udo on during COVID, actually.
Well, he first started just doing little stuff, right?
Yeah. Logo branding stuff.
Yeah.
And homeboy is full time now.
It's full time.
So, and he's out in Brazil. So, I know we'll see him one day.
Yeah, we'll have him jump on. We need to.
Yeah.
One of the things we want to do here, I think, is because our team has grown.
Yep.
Is you don't have to stare at us as much anymore. So
exactly.
Kind of bring some new faces into the mix and let you guys meet our team.
Yep.
Because I think it's cool. I don't know.
That'd be fun to do one of these and then just have them pop in.
Yeah, and we'll just do an interview. We'll ask them some questions and put them on the spot a little bit.
Yeah, that'd be awesome.
But no, we've got a great team. I'm really thrilled. And again, it's all remote, but it's fantastic. We kind of work with the different time zones we have. I mean, we have people on not just the East Coast, but the far East Coast. Like we've got people in the Atlantic time zone. And we've also got people here in LA, and we've got a really, I don't know, I'm really happy with the team we've built.
Yeah, we have to see what the middle point of the world for all of us is and meet there.
There you go.
Let's see, Cabo maybe? Cabo would be pretty sweet. Cancun. That'd be a pretty sick retreat, right?
Yeah, it would. I have no idea if that's the case.
I don't know. I know. I honestly,
dream,
it's like, I wonder too.
Yeah.
We should do a little poll. Some of our international peeps, if they'd want it, like, is the US like a destination? Like for us, it's home, you know, but would you rather go to Cancun or like come to LA? Or, you know, I don't know. For us, it's like Cancun, but for them, it could be like, I've always wanted to go to.
We're sick of those beautiful beaches.
You know.
Yeah, I don't know.
Well, he votes Cancun, so I think we got.
That's awesome.
We got to look at that. But
and tell everybody
Vegas,
Vegas, yes.
Dang, imagine.
Oh Lord,
it'd be all kinds of wrong.
No, I wouldn't want to do that. Well, tell everybody about the party.
Oh, good segue.
Speaking of being reckless.
So I was just on. Anyways, while I look it up, we're 10 years old, man.
Yes,
we are 10 years old, and
that's like how many years is that in founder years?
Years. Well, I mean, the story is, it took me 10 years to get to year one. So it's actually a 20-year journey. Yeah, that's the real truth. You know, people only see the right now, you know. Sure. And people, you know, there's still people that, you know, they see it and they're like, "Wow, this guy's, you know, lucky, whatever." You know, you've heard it all.
Oh yeah.
And it's like, no, it's not luck. It's not even that, you know, that we were like the best, you know, nothing like that. It's literally just hard grinding, constant, you know. And even when I tell myself, if, you know, they always say, what would you tell your younger self, or if you could change anything? I always say, I wish I would have started sooner, so I'll be celebrating a 20-year anniversary instead. But that freaks me out because we wouldn't be here right now in this moment. No. The way it is.
No. And
we just wouldn't. We'd be somewhere else. And you just don't want to tempt fate that way.
No, you don't.
But the truth is, you know, what does it take? It takes working a full-time job, being a family man, and then working early morning and late at night for 10 years to get to day one. I mean, for me at least. I know there's other people that, you know, that start right away and they do okay, you know. For me, that was the journey. It was like, it took 10 years to be like, okay, let's go. Let's all in, right? All in. And then for it to have worked this long, you know, 10 years is huge.
That's the hardest. That's got to be the hardest step, that first one.
100%. I still remember like that first month. I think I had like 20 grand or something like that in the bank. Mm-hmm. And I was feeling good, confident, you know. It's like when you see, you know, first time founders, you're like, these poor bastards. They have no idea, right?
Yeah, no idea.
These guys have no idea what's coming, right? Mm-hmm. And then I'm like 20 grand in the bank. You know what? I'm going to give me a nice monitor. That monitor right there, man, was my first purchase.
Dang.
That sucker, this is the pointing at the Mac display.
Cinema display.
Yep. 2560 by 1440, whatever it is. Yeah. Right? It's not even Retina. It's not. So I bought that thing. It was $1,100 in 2011.
Shoot.
$1,100.
Dang.
And that thing came in. I set up my desk.
Oh yeah.
I was like, I'm ready to go. Let's do this. And then, you know, the clients didn't come. You know, I was doing. I had my clients from like the moonlighting, but I'm like,
I'm open for business.
Where's the rest? Where's the rest of you?
Where's all that demand?
No, it didn't come, and then it didn't come, and then it didn't come.
Oh,
and then I bled cash. I bled cash, and I had a 6-figure job, you know, prior. Mm-hmm. So it was just a shock, a total complete shock. And most people would just be like, screw this, go back, get another 6-figure job.
Yeah.
You know,
call it.
Yeah. Throw in the towel, man.
Turn off those lights and be a man and go, go back.
It's like you say, right? You're ready for that knock on
the door. Yeah. Excuse me. Get back to it.
Gigs up.
Gigs up. Time to grow up.
Sabbatical's over. Get back to work. And then just pushing through, you know, for those 3 years.
Mm-hmm.
And then, you know, giving you the red pill.
Yep.
We were just talking about this today.
Yep.
Well, tell them the story. Like, what how did it go down? Well, the back story is we grew up together. So that's the back story.
Well, yeah. And I'll tell you from my perspective, like I remember chatting with you. This is way back when you were the Cisco web guy. Remember that Cisco web guy? Or
AIM, bro.
Charlie had a thing called Tripixel Media.
Oh yeah,
like that. Wasn't that it?
Oh yeah,
there it is. And just so you know too, like, and if you ask, you know, I had always had aspirations of owning an agency, and a lot of it came down to I was very lucky early in my career to work at agencies and design firms that were still owned by the owner. So they were there, you know, they were running the show. And I really admired that. It was just one of those things where it was like, you know, I'm like, oh, to be that guy,
mm-hmm.
you know, that's really who I admired. And so in the back of my mind, as I'm working at all these different agencies, I'm kind of, you know, I'm trying to find like, how does that happen? How do I go from being an art director to being an agency owner? And there is no clear path. There is no book you can read. There is no conference and there's no any way to make that transition. That's not that I could find. You know, I had conversations with friends of mine or, you know, creative partners about doing something. In fact, I remember at GSD&M, I was looking at starting I was working on Air Force, and I had this idea, which I'm surprised, you know, it's still a good idea in some respects. I was probably in my mid-20s. I was probably like 25 or something like that. And I was like, you know what? I'm going to create a youth agency, because the truth was the Air Force was trying to recruit
mm-hmm.
a lot of young people. And so, but didn't know how, you know, and they were handing this recruiting thing off to people who were much older and frankly out of touch. And I was like, you know what, if I could just have a young run agency, I could snatch business like this and make a ton. I even had a name for it. I was going to call it Freshman. And, you know, it came up with some branding and stuff for it just for fun. But it was one of those things I was like, you know what? I always had this sort of passion to do something like that. But I could never find anyone else crazy enough to do it with me.
Yeah.
And, you know, and there was a thing, it was like, you know, you talk to people and they might want to do it someday. Like, oh, that sounds like a great idea. You know, once my house is paid off, or, oh, that's cool. But, you know, we'd need these people and this, you know, it'd have to be like the perfect scenario for them to even consider it. It wasn't just like, hey, let's just go and, you know, screw this. Let's just go do it. So it never happened. It never happened. It really took two things. It took me and you talking,
mm-hmm. Which we hadn't really for years.
Which you really hadn't. No. But we started talking, and then I was working at a shop here in LA, and I kind of knew it was coming to a close, but I was kind of upset about it. I didn't want to leave this agency. Well, it was time to go. I'd kind of overinvested in it, you know? And so there's that sense of like, I'm, you know, I just felt like I was getting a little burned by it. And as a result, I really wasn't that excited about finding another job. I really wasn't excited at that point in time to go and just go back, because at the time there were plenty of agencies around town, and I had more than enough automotive experience to, get it. I mean, that's part of the reason I moved to LA in the first place, was because there's so many shops that do automotive. I was like, I got 6 agencies in town that I can go work for and never have to move. So I was sort of like, okay, I'm just going to go ahead and look at these other shops. But right away, it was clear my heart wasn't in it. It's sort of almost like after a bad breakup, like, do you want to go back in and, start dating again? No, you need some alone time kind of thing.
Yep.
And that's really when Charlie stepped in, when you had just said, hey, let's work on a little something, I think it was you were talking to Tim.
Yeah, he had the Golden Boy Promotions.
Yeah, he had sort of an in there, right?
Yeah.
And you and him had an idea for an app.
That's right.
Like a scoring app.
That's right.
You would score the match on your own.
And you and I were literally just catching up. We weren't even talking about anything.
No.
We were just like...
No, I think you're just like, hey, what do you think of this?
And then I just threw it out there. I said, what do you think of it? And you're like, that's cool, man. And then I think one thing led to like, would you be down to help us pitch?
Yeah.
Something like that.
Yeah.
And you said, well, he's like, actually, you said it's perfect timing. I think you had already left the agency.
Yeah.
And you said, I'm working on my portfolio.
Yes.
So you had gotten some co-working space to focus.
Yes.
You were working out of a
co-working place
in
Culver City. Yeah.
And you were working on your portfolio.
Yep.
And the plan was, when you were done, you were going to shop it around. You were going to go figure out what your next thing was. And I remember, so I told Tim, I said, hey, I got my buddy, it'll give us some firepower going into that pitch, right? So he's like, heck yeah, let's do it. But that was like, I don't think that was set. Like, that meeting wasn't set. It was just kind of like, are you down?
Yeah.
And then I think the way you told the story earlier, we're at lunch, you said, and I vaguely remember, but I think I convinced you to fly in to Sacramento for something else.
Yeah. Well, you told me you had clients that you wanted to pitch or something, right?
Something like that, yeah. And I didn't.
And you didn't. It's a big lie.
I had a hidden agenda, I guess.
Yeah. And so, but you lined some stuff up.
Yeah, I booked your flight, and I just started calling some folks, emailing some people, and I set up some meetings. All right.
Yeah, you did. Yeah, we had one with Group One.
Yeah.
And then another one, the Chamber of Commerce for Folsom.
That's right.
So, and again, like, I don't know. You must have told me about Group One, because I think we came in with some sort of presentation.
Yeah, you came in with some ideas.
Yeah.
So,
I don't remember what it was,
but I think I lined it up after. I thought about it.
Yeah.
After.
Yeah.
Because in my mind, I was thinking, if I can get enough of these, use your expertise to push the envelope a little bit.
Well, because you had built their website.
Yeah.
And so, and really, I think what your pitch to me was, look, I did all these websites, but I never did any of the marketing.
Right.
So there's money on the tables all over the place. Let's go back. You come in. Let's go back and let's see what we can dig up.
Yep.
And so that was the Group One thing, and it went great.
Yeah.
So
they were ready to sign on the spot.
On the spot. Yeah, they were like, yeah, we need to do
And then
this.
I remember we went for a drink after, went to a little pub. Shout out to Sam Horns.
Yeah.
On Sutter Street. And we're sitting there, and I'm looking at you. I'm like, this thinks he's going to go home and go back to work.
Work on my portfolio.
Yeah, go work on his portfolio. I think after a couple of beers, I was like, look, man, because he pretty much said, let's do it. And then you said, hey, I don't want to leave you hanging. Since you got it, we got it.
Yeah.
So let me I'll work on it for a few months while I'm looking for work.
Yeah.
So that way, you don't just dip. We landed and you dip.
Yeah.
And then I was like, no. It's a couple of months or whatever. I'm like, no.
Yeah.
This is meant to be, man. You're supposed to be here right now. In this moment. I remember your face, man. You were scared. You were like
what is Charlie getting me into now?
Yeah. Because in high school, it was always, you're going.
Yeah. Charlie was always the instigator.
Yeah. You're going.
You always were, man.
You're going to the sub tonight.
You're going.
You don't understand. You're going. And you would go.
Yeah, I would go. I'd be like, all right, I'm going.
Yeah. So anyways, yeah, we've said the story before, but it's just crazy how once you took that pill, it's like an enlightenment.
Oh yeah. Yeah,
we took a little time, but
I was saying we were talking about this over lunch even. I had been very conditioned by ad agencies.
Yeah.
To expect things to work a certain way, right? The way the teams are set up, the roles and responsibilities, the relationship with clients is all sort of very set. And when there's just two of us working together, like none of those rules apply. But that was the beauty of it. And I think, and I've thought about this a lot because it was sort of like that was the thing that kept me from even doing this on my own or doing it with somebody else, is those rules almost make it impossible. They make it look really hard, and it is. But it took, your approach to it was sort of like, what rules, and that's what makes it work. Because then you can kind of make your own rules. But it's when you try to, I had it in the mind of like, okay, I'm going to take one of the agencies I'm working at, I'm going to take their business model, and I'm just going to try to replicate it. And it doesn't work.
No.
One of the things that I've sort of realized, obviously in retrospect, was that a lot of the agencies that I worked for had strong media buying departments. And that is, you talk about the 80-20 rule. I guarantee you, if you look at the numbers of those agencies, that media buying is 20% of the business, but 80% of the revenue. It's massive. And the downsizing you see in agencies that's happening now is because so much of it is moving to web, for social and stuff, digital advertising, which you don't need an intermediary for.
Right. These guys can buy it themselves.
Absolutely. Facebook will do it for you.
Yeah.
So you don't have to go through a broker to get web advertising. And so that's taken a huge amount of the revenue out of these other ad agencies. And so anyway, it's been really interesting. So the push towards doing this kind of thing was really, it took someone like you to kind of say, you know what, let's be dangerous and go for it and be daring. And that to this day, I think,
we've been saying it since freshman year. Who cares about life?
Who cares about life? Honestly. I know that phrase doesn't make any sense.
Yeah.
But it's like a mantra. Yeah. What's that?
You got your boy here.
Here's Anthony. Hey, Anthony. Yeah. In fact, Anthony and I, he and I are the one who talked about that freshman thing. In fact, Anthony found a business card the other day for another agency we wanted to start. I think this was while we were in college, called Inverse.
Dude, where have you been backpocketing these names?
Wow. They're out there. But dude, in fact, what's crazy is I built an animation in Flash, bro, with the logo. Because it starts out, get this, it starts out with Anthony would remember this. It starts out with an I, and then it goes like, lowercase I.
Yeah.
And it goes, and it flips upside down to an exclamation point. And I was like, oh,
so you get it right
inverse,
there.
and it's upside down. So anyway, I was really proud of that. I'm sure, honestly, that sat in my portfolio for a while. It was just for fun. But yeah, and to be honest too, I mean, who knows? I mean, I know, Anthony's off in New York kicking butt. But it is sort of interesting, and we've worked together a little bit here and there on different projects. But I tell you what, the world of and he would tell you too, the world of advertising has changed dramatically, since we started. And I think there's, I think for me, it took a lot of those things, the different jobs and stuff, that for me to sort of realize what really attracted me to advertising in the first place. And to be honest with you, I think a lot of it had to do with the sort of the business of it. I wanted to sort of affect what businesses did. It was sort of like, you look when you look at advertising campaigns and stuff like that. Advertising campaigns, there's a real opportunity. It's almost like a venture, right? You think of tech startups, right? It's like a launch of a product. When you do a marketing campaign, it's a launch, right? We would call it a campaign launch, right? So you're taking something and you're really launching this new idea out into the world and seeing how people react to it. The problem I had, or the frustration I kind of started to feel with sort of advertising, was the fact that I was expected to do launches for products that weren't new. That started to grate on me. Or it was for a product that really wasn't great to begin with. And so it just felt insincere. And that would always grate on me. And when I looked out there and looked at ad agencies, you really didn't see an ad agency that was very comfortable standing up and saying, wait a second, like, this needs to be fixed before we're going to launch it. And there are a few, and the ones that are out, I mean, you sort of can see the ones that have done that are sort of the leaders now. You have the RGAs and the AKQAs. Those agencies work really strongly in the consulting space. So to me, like, that's sort of where I sort of saw the market going, and because it felt like that's where I wanted to go. So anyway, it's been a long journey, but I'm really happy to be where we're at. So I don't know.
And you blink and it's 7 years.
Yeah. What's crazy, I realized too, see that I had how many 7 jobs in 15 years, my first 15 years in advertising. And this now is by far the longest job I've had.
You know why? Because it's not a job.
Yeah, exactly. Well, as they say, entrepreneurs are the only ones that are going to work, 60 hours a week so they can avoid working 40 hours a week.
That's right.
So there's something that definitely to be said for that.
Yeah. And here we are. It's our 10th year.
10th year.
And we're throwing a party.
Oh, yeah.
August 7th. Dude, it's going to be lit. It's going to be lit.
It's going to be so much fun.
Yeah. So our first decade.
Yeah.
And we got another one to look forward to, man.
Yes.
There's a lot of new stuff happening. Stuff that we're pretty excited about. Some new hires and some potential new clients and partnerships, and products we're launching.
Yeah.
Like, dude, it's about to get crazy right now.
Yeah. We're sitting on some stuff, guys.
Yeah.
Honestly.
Yeah.
So, yeah, it's amazing.
Well, we made it this far. We didn't.
Yeah.
We didn't crash and burn, so that's good.
We hit the wall a couple of times, or
there's
some sparks flying.
Yeah.
And to put some fires out.
Yeah, pretty much.
But we got here, man.
We did. What up, Chris? Sitebox X. The X Factor.
Right. That's right. Don't ask how many versions of
many versions of that logo. Big shout out to
that branding.
To our boy Udo.
Oh God.
For that.
for putting up with it.
Putting that. In fact, we have another version here.
We could do a whole episode on
just all those versions.
On how
here,
we
check
wanted
this
to
one
talk
out.
about Sightbox.
Look at that.
Ooh,
it's in there. It's hidden.
There it is.
Right?
Yep.
It's in there.
Get it? Get it?
Get it? See what we did? See what we did there?
See what we did there?
Anyways, August 7th in the area. Shoot us a DM or email, text, whatever. We'll get you on the list. We're going to have a grand old time.
Yeah.
We got music. We got.
What are we having food wise?
Oh, dude, we got a taco cart.
Yeah.
It's going down, and then we've got a mixologist. Yeah. Coming, and then we've got a s'moreologist. We've got one of our family to me, but one of our early investors has a s'mores venture. He's bringing the operations. Gourmet s'mores, like making them on the spot.
Made to order. Yeah.
We got door prizes. I'm looking at one right there on the table. It's gonna be fun, man.
All right.
Downtown Brea, Orange County. Hit us up. For those of you that are virtual, we're still trying to figure out how to bring the party to you.
We'll have a Zoom link. Let's be
something
real.
Or one of these StreamYard things.
Oh yeah.
Know. We'll figure it out.
Yeah.
We'll figure it out. But yeah, stick around. Check out our vlog. Subscribe, like, all of that if you want. If not, I don't care. This is, people always will look at the amount of like views and stuff, like the stats on our channel, which is pretty low, right? Subscribers and all that. And some people would ask, like, why do you do it? I know for a fact two things. One is that this agency is going to outlive us.
Yeah.
Because that's what we're working towards.
That's it. Yeah.
And then two is you and I are both going to have generations of people, like kids, grandkids, great grandkids, for as long as, God keeps us alive, humanity alive. There's going to be someone, and it's all going to lead back to us. And then maybe three will be, I don't think this content on YouTube's ever going to disappear.
Yeah, probably not.
Not for a long time.
Yeah.
So for me, it's freaking awesome to know that one day, imagine looking back, if you're like employee, like, the agency is like 100 years old and you're like, let's go back to the beginning.
Let's watch these crusty old dudes just talk about just dumb stuff. Okay.
Exactly. But, or let's check out what great grandpa Nate, had to say about this or that. What was he doing back in the day?
Listen to him complain about something.
Yeah. So it's fun.
It is. So thanks for humoring us.
Thanks.
As we put this in what posterity is this? Here.
Urucat music, micheladas.
There you go.
We will especially do micheladas if you come down. So we will do that, and we will give you the tour of all the Back to the Future filming locations. Guaranteed. So have a nice day, everybody. Nice Tuesday, and we'll catch you on the next one. Peace out.